everybody. Welcome to another episode of All the WrestleManias podcast. I'm your co-host, Tim Hackman.
And I'm your co-host, Rich Sigwald.
Thanks for joining us. We're always excited to be back with you here in the studio. We hope you caught some of our recent episodes. We had, we had good times talking to the Director of Operations, Mr. Jerry Stefanitsis from VCW. Our last episode, we talked about, which one did we talk about? It was an old one. It was, remind me?
From 1979, Madison Square Garden.
Yeah. My brain is shot. It's like Swiss cheese in there.
It's a Friday. It's dumb. It's August, and it's just a rough time right now.
It's hotter than hell's front porch down here in Virginia. Actually, today's relatively pleasant, but this weekend is going to be a scorcher.
Today's not too bad here in Bowie. They even took the kids out to play at the daycare.
Nice.
The pressure washer guys are here, so if you hear some sort of like horrible spraying sound against our vinyl siding while recording, I apologize, but it's got to be done. We got a note from the HOA.
Aren't you going to get out there and get yourself pressure washed?
Well, I should. Just hose me down. Get it done. I need the shower. So
get in the crevices there.
I need a deep clean, please.
You've been watching much wrestling lately? Did you catch any of SummerSlam?
I did. I watched SummerSlam. I actually kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too, actually.
Brock Lesnar versus Cody was excellent. Probably my favorite match of the night.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
Yeah.
I had a good time with that one. Sort of enjoyed Gunther and Drew. I thought that was a good old-fashioned meat-chomping fest.
It looked like an old-style Intercontinental Championship match. Like, it was good. I liked that.
Yeah. Yeah, there was some good stuff. I thought it was maybe one of the better wrestling shows they've put on in recent memory.
Yeah, I would agree.
So anyway, that was good. Let's see. So I guess we're here to talk about a WrestleMania.
It's time.
Yeah, we've been, continuing our journey through the darkest parts of WrestleMania history. We started the blog with WrestleMania 1 and got all the way up to 16, before we switched over to the podcast format. So since starting the podcast last January of 22, we've gone from 17 up to today's episode, which is WrestleMania 28, live and in living color from Sun Life Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. I'm not sure if that's in Miami. Maybe it's next to Miami.
Miami. Ha ha ha. Miami.
April 1st, 2012, April Fool's Day. Big attendance for this one, 78,363, setting a record for that particular stadium. Also, record setter for the pay-per-view buys, 1.3 million. Apparently the biggest pay-per-view buy in history. Former record was held by WrestleMania 23 5 years prior, when that was 1.2 million. So this one topped it by 100,000 or so.
I mean, it's clearly because of Maria Menounos and Kelly finally teaming up. That is the big draw on this card, right?
I mean, the fans have been clamoring for it for years.
People have been dying for Maria Menounos to get into the ring, and it finally happened in hot Miami. And so people were just like, take my money, I'm going to sit here on a Sunday night for 4 hours.
I know every time I'm at the movies and you got AMC pre-show thing on with Maria Menounos, I'm like, this is great and all, but I'd like to see her wrestling.
You should be wrestling again. That's where you should be. It was clear that you had a natural knack for the ring.
Yeah, or something like that. Tagline on this sign is once in a lifetime, which is kind of funny. We'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
And this one has a run time of 3 hours and 51 minutes, so it's a bladder buster. It's a long show. It moves faster than I expected it to for 3 hours and 51 minutes, but it's also got a whole lot of filler and not a whole lot of wrestling. So we'll talk about all of that and more. But anything sort of context or history-wise you'd like to talk about for this one?
This is another weird little generational transition for WWE. There's a lot of future names on this card and a lot of old names rolling out on this card. So Kane is still in an active storyline showing up. Randy Orton, who doesn't seem to age, is still kicking around there and is around now. The Miz is here still. Obviously, The Undertaker and Triple H and Shawn Michaels are all still kicking around on this WrestleMania. But also we see the likes of Daniel Bryan, aka Bryan Danielson. Sheamus is still kicking around nowadays and is here on this card. Cody Rhodes is in his first WWE run right now at this WrestleMania,
and is a tiny baby.
Yeah, he's a youngin. But also, Drew McIntyre is here. Jack Swagger, Dolph Ziggler is here. There's Kofi Kingston, Zack Ryder, aka what's his name, Matt Cardona. Is here. Booker T is on this card too in a sham of a match. Booker T doesn't deserve this booking, and it's unfair. But also Mark Henry is here. Mark Henry, this is Mark Henry's only his 4th WrestleMania, but his first one was WrestleMania 14. So 14 years before this one was Mark Henry's first WrestleMania. But then there's also perennials like Chris Jericho's on this card and CM Punk as well.
R-Truth, speaking of people who don't age, R-Truth is in that mess of a tag team match in the middle there. So, yeah, tons of people getting a paycheck for this one, that's for sure. Plenty of money to go around with those ticket sales.
And it's clear that John Cena has become like Hulk Hogan. They have no one else to elevate to his level to fight at this point, because Brock Lesnar has disappeared, Kurt Angle's disappeared, all their like big main eventer guys have poof gone. So they drag The Rock back from Hollywood.
Yeah.
And so the main event for this pay-per-view, John Cena versus The Rock, was announced the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania 27.
Yeah, they built this thing for an entire year. So I actually just finished Brian Gewirtz's little memoir about being a writer in this era of WWE, and he writes a lot about actually this particular run. It's basically a 2-year storyline between The Rock and Cena, and it starts with some actual legit heat between the guys. It's kind of an interesting story if you have a chance to check out that book. It's just one problem: true tales from the former one-time 7th most powerful person in WWE. So he was a head writer for them from late 90s up through right around this time. And he was kind of like The Rock's main guy. He wrote a lot of The Rock's like promos with him. Anyway, it's a fun recounting of the backstory to this. But I think there was some hurt feelings and maybe some perceived disrespect on both parts. And the promos between the two got a little close to the bone, I think, for both of the guys. The Fruity Pebbles thing, which you see on some signs in this one, that came up at the last WrestleMania, because I remember we commented on it then. That apparently got under John Cena's skin, and I think there was an extent to which he resented. He's the guy, right? He's the top dog, and here comes The Rock back in from Hollywood, just kind of drop in, and all of a sudden getting all of these big pops and stuff that were his alone. But they worked it out. I think they settled it in one of the Fast and Furious movies or something. I don't know. I think they're great together, honestly. Like, if you ask me to name the top 2 stars of the last 20 years of wrestling, it's those two guys.
Yeah.
They're the ones that sold the most tickets, moved the most merch, brought the most fans into the crowd, into the experience, and they both really have a lot to offer. And I was sort of looking forward to the main event here. So we're not gonna get ahead of ourselves, but it's definitely the centerpiece of this whole show for me, anyway.
Yeah, and there's just a power vacuum though at the top in WWE right now, and part of that is just because there is a while I wouldn't call them competition, there is a rival wrestling promotion getting national attention at this time, and that is TNA, which is run by Jerry Jarrett and Jeff Jarrett, that was started in 2002, like the moment WCW folded and was bought up by WWF. Jerry Jarrett and some pals went fishing and were like, you know what, we should keep the NWA alive. And so the NWA lineage at this time period is running through TNA Impact Wrestling. So we mentioned some names that are missing, but there's also some like other big time guys that could have been still going in WWE, but have have left. And so if you look at the TNA roster in 2012, it's quite a fascinating little spread of names that we will get to know and names that we already do know. So like some of the more prominent names are Sting and Scott Steiner are over in TNA. Mr. Kennedy, who we saw win a Money in the Bank match a couple WrestleManias ago, is over there. Ric Flair is there. Rob Van Dam, Sanjay Dutt, who's a name that we know now. And let's see who else is over there. Taz is over there on commentary with Mike Tenay, who is still floating around after WCW. Samoa Joe, who we'll get to know very intimately soon. Kurt Angle is on the roster over there. D'Lo Brown, Hulk Hogan, Christopher Daniels, Chavo Guerrero, the Dudley boys are over there, but under Bully Ray and Devon. I don't think they're actually tagging at that point anymore over there. AJ Styles and Al Snow are kicking it over there. Tony Nese, Bobby Roode, and as we just discussed before we started hitting the record button, our pal Barry Darsow, his son, is also wrestling at this time there, with the name Dakota Darsow. And then also Jeff Hardy is there, and Gail Kim. Good Lord, I've been watching the news too much. Gail Kim is over there, and perennial asshole these days, Joey Ryan, Frankie Kazarian, Luke Gallows. So it's, if TNA could have gotten a little bit more oomph to it, it could have actually been real competition. Yeah. But the fact that WWE just at this point seems to have learned its lesson and is just steamrolling, not even caring about what's happening across the street or whatever you want to call it. They don't care about the neighbor's yard anymore, which is probably smart. And so that's why TNA still exists and WWE hasn't spun its wheels trying to put something out of business, so.
Yeah, I watched a bit of the TNA in that time. I was not like a regular viewer, but I definitely remember watching some Kurt Angle stuff from that time and being impressed by Samoa Joe and just the roster of people popping in and out. I also remember when Hogan came in, I was like, oh, well, they're just rerunning the WCW playbook, and that's kind of lame. That didn't work out so well in the first. I mean, it did until it didn't, right? So I remember not being particularly impressed by that. But I've heard that there are actually some really amazing Kurt Angle matches from those years that I really need to check out, because we've been super impressed with Kurt Angle in the course of watching our WrestleManias, and he was past his WWE prime, but he wasn't, kind of physically broken down quite as much at the time. So that's been on my list for a while to check out. And it's kind of weird to think about it as I don't think it was ever really any kind of threat, like they were filling a very, very small arena. I think it was a casino, right? Didn't they work in a casino mostly?
I think so. They did weird things. They tried a lot of stuff, and
yeah,
they're still kicking, so good for them.
Eventually the money ran out and the TV ran out, and these things happen. But I always think it's better when you do have some sort of competition kicking around, which is, we've talked about before. I'm glad that AEW is here now, because it does, it caters to a certain kind of audience, and it pushes on WWE in subtle ways, and has an influence for the better on the business. Anyway, not to get off on a.
It's more places for dudes to work.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all. The more wrestling that can be out there, the more talent can be discovered, and the more talent can develop, the better product you get.
Yeah, exactly. And then and also sort of the more diversity of talent. You don't have all of the people working the exact same way. People pick up different styles and stuff by being able to go and work from different schools and different developmental programs. And anyway, we're sort of off on a tangent, but
which is technically how the free market is supposed to function, right?
Well, I don't really believe in that, but we won't get into it.
Well, let's start talking about this show, huh?
Yeah. Point being is that there's a ton of talent floating around at this time that is, still very viable, but it is some of it is noticeably absent from this particular product, and some of the choices that we get, I think, are in part sort of pushed by that. And I think, we saw a similar thing in the mid-'90s before the Monday Night Wars kicked off, right, where so much of the WWF talent had gone away, and they never really filled in quite as well. And so some of those cards were god-awful because it's like, like this guy, really? This is what you got, huh?
Right, like the Mabel push.
Yeah.
All right, off the King of the Ring there. Like Hulk Hogan shows up in exactly like one Monday Night Raw, and I need to go answer the door.
So anyway, tangents aside, we've got Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler, Jim Ross on the announce team for this one, and Lillian Garcia kicks us off by singing "America the Beautiful" and getting a big USA chant. I thought she sounded good.
She did sound good. A little slow for my taste, but
yeah.
And then doing a second verse at that slow tempo was all right. We're here for 4 hours. Okay,
it seemed to last a long time. That's for sure.
Yeah, and we get a real flyover. Hot damn, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I like flyovers. So.
We get a second shot of it a little bit later too, just to make sure that you didn't miss it, But the first event on the card is Daniel Bryan in his very first WrestleMania comes in with the belt with AJ in his corner versus Sheamus. This is the World Heavyweight Championship on the line here. So Daniel Bryan, if you guys maybe remember, was sort of I don't know. This whole thing was kind of an improbable internet push, right? And like the fans just kind of like
demanded it.
Yeah, he was very small. He was kind of woolly looking. He had a crazy beard. He looked quasi homeless.
He still does.
Still looks a little bit homeless. Yeah. And he really wasn't getting much of a push, but I think the fans recognize that this guy can really go, he can really wrestle, and they just fucking wouldn't relent.
And I need to go again. I don't know why. I'll be right back.
Bitch. Son of a bitch. It's still recording.
That was the neighbor wanting to know how much we're paying for the pressure washing. So,
mind your business, neighbor.
No, they got dinged from the HOA by us as well. So,
well, hey, what you gonna do? So anyway, they kind of gave him a big old push thanks to the fans. He walks into this one with the belt, but as we'll see, it doesn't last very long.
18 seconds.
18 seconds.
One of the fastest matches in WWE history.
Yeah, it's shades of SD Jones and King Kong Bundy here.
Or Kevin Nash, Diesel versus Bob Backlund.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So Daniel Bryan gets a kiss from AJ, and when he turns around, he walks directly into a brogue kick from Sheamus, who rolls him up for the pin, gets the belt. The crowd shits its collective pants. They were not expecting that one at all.
No. Fascinating way to start WrestleMania.
Right? And also a little bit of a middle finger maybe to the internet wrestling community that kind of pushed Daniel Bryan into the spotlight. What do you think?
Yeah, it's like we do what we want, all right? We'll give what we want, and we'll take it when we want it back. I can't even talk right now. I'm so freaking frustrated by this.
And you'll take it and you'll goddamn like it.
Yeah. Damn right.
Shut up about it. Yeah. Anyway, interesting. I don't know. So apparently, I was reading some reviews of this WrestleMania, and that was one of the things that people really, really, really didn't like about it. They said, well, it was good for the Triple H match and the main event, but that Daniel Bryan loss was...
It brings it down a notch. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. It's kind of a dick move, to be honest. So anyway, rolling right along, Kane versus Randy Orton. Randy Orton doesn't age, like you said. He also doesn't get any more interesting. He's still boring. I do like Kane in the sort of the all black outfit, or the mostly black outfit.
And the welder's mask. I thought that was pretty cool looking. So
yeah. And he looks kind of ripped here. Like, he's kind of doughy sometimes, but he actually looks in decent shape.
I think he was returning from injury for this match. As he mentioned something about like Kane's been missing for months, and then he shows up and he's been destroying everybody, and he probably was hurt and he had to hit the gym to rehab, and he looks good. So unlike John Laurinaitis, who we see before this match, he is dressed like Brother Love, and I don't understand why. So
I don't know either. That guy's a weird looking dude. He'll come back later, unfortunately.
He reminds me of Super Dave for some reason.
He does look like him in the face a little bit.
Yeah. Bob Einstein.
He's a lanky motherfucker, though. I don't like seeing him on my TV at all. I'm not into that.
No.
This is a boring match, I think. There's a few cool spots. King kind of pushes off the RKO and catches Randy with a boot. That was a pretty good move. He choke slams him off the top rope. That's pretty much that.
Yeah, there was also Kane jumped from the top rope at one point, but Orton drop kicked him to stop it. Like that was one of the crazier spots that we see in the whole show. Actually, was that I was like, wow. But yeah, this was a bland match because it's Randy Orton and it's Kane. So yeah. I do like that Kane has his good original theme back here, where he's got like the organ and the choir to open it, and then the torches and the bang, like this is good theme. This is good Kane theme. So
it's Undertaker inspired for sure.
No,
So it's fine. There's a kind of lame vignette with Mick Foley, Santino, and I guess that dude is from the Deadliest Catch. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're eating crab legs and they're wearing raincoats like the Gordon's fishermen. Mick Foley keeps saying "aye" like a pirate.
Aye.
And then Ron Simmons shows up just so he can look disapproving and say "damn."
Yeah, I have to tell you that like the partnership between Discovery Channel and WWE is so
it's awful.
Unusual to me. And there's more weird connections with WWE in this show that we'll get to, especially the library community will be like, what? Yeah. Discovery Channel and WWE, and they still have the partnership because the WWE Most Wanted Treasures thing that's still happening. All the biography programs they've been doing over the years about wrestlers. Because honestly, the only people that are probably still watching A&E biography are wrestling fans that are wanting to watch the wrestling things. So they just keep doing biographies of wrestlers. So
I mean, I DVR all of them. I don't watch all of them, but I DVR all of them.
Exactly. I watch them on YouTube later.
I watched the first round of them, the one that had Roddy Piper and Macho Man, and that was a pretty good set. The second round, it got into some people. I'm like, I think was Edge one of them. I'm like, I don't care about that at all.
Yeah. Give me the dead ones. I want the dead wrestlers. That's.
I want the ones with the truly horrific stories.
Yeah.
Well,
like
don't they
Jake the Snake and like his mom being like 13 years old or something like that, and like just the horribleness of his entire existence. Yeah. So
that's a little heavy for A&E these days. Don't they still do like a Shark Week thing? Don't they have a Shark Week partnership? Maybe I'm misremembering that.
I'm not sure, but I mean, with WWE no longer doing blood, I don't see that tie-in together anymore.
Yeah. The next match is our boy. It's Cody. He's a little tiny baby. He's so skinny. He's got the dark hair. He looks all of 12. He's wrestling the Big Show for the WWE, Intercontinental Championship match. Did you happen to watch the thing on Peacock about Cody? Did you watch that yet?
No.
The American Nightmare?
I want to, but I'm probably going to watch between my fingers because it's just like, well, what are they going to talk about with him during his Ring of Honor and AEW run?
Yeah.
There's going to be like a 6-year gap, right?
They actually kind of talk about it. Like, I didn't see anything that there's definitely some Ring of Honor footage. They do talk about, they talked about it more than I expected them to. It didn't need to be as long as it did. Somebody said you could play a drinking game where anytime somebody says this business, you take a shot.
Oh yeah, it'll kill you.
I don't know.
Like they went long on this one, and they probably could have gone twice as long on the Ric Flair one.
Oh yeah,
it felt like the Ric Flair one was like blew over a lot of things. So
you could do like a 10-hour miniseries on Ric Flair.
Yeah.
And
that's just
like
before the plane crash.
Yeah. I would love that. Like if they did, like the Lakers, the Winning Time series.
That show
HBO.
was excellent. The second season is starting up here.
Yeah. It was like 7 episodes or something. They could totally do that shit for Ric Flair. I'd watch the hell out of that.
And I learned so much out of that Winning Time thing. I had no idea that Jack Kent Cooke owned the Lakers.
Dude, that show was something else. John C. Reilly was freaking amazing. I mean, he's amazing all the time.
He deserves an Emmy for that show. I don't know how he did
so
not
good.
win it.
He's so good. He's so like into it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't know that I can wholeheartedly recommend the American Nightmare or whatever it's called documentary. I'd give it maybe a C plus. Jackie actually watched it with me and she didn't hate it.
Yeah, I'll watch it at some point, maybe next week. But
he definitely cries a lot. He needs to get some therapy, or medication, or both. I'm not sure which.
Well, I mean, that's because Dusty Rhodes is dad. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh yeah, he barely ever mentions it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I actually, for a very long time, assumed that Cody was Dustin's son, and that Dusty was his grandfather. But
yeah,
surprise to me.
Well, so that's one thing that I will say is an obvious omission from this. So Cody and his sister, right, who are from Dusty's second wife, are very close to their dad, right? And he was home all the time. He was retired at that point, or just sort of doing booking and very much involved. You know, they both describe him as like the best dad ever. But I think it may have been was it on the A&E one maybe about Dusty, where Dustin has different memories, which is to say no memories of his dad because he was never around. And I think, he's still really kind of, maybe bitter is not the right word, but definitely kind of has some feelings about it, and he and his sister, by Dusty's first wife, had just a whole different experience. And they don't touch that at all in this one.
I'm sure not.
So anyway, we're off on a rant again. There's not really much to talk about with this WrestleMania. That's, what's happening on screen, so we can.
It's like Indianapolis. It's like the center of the universe, but there's nothing happening there at the same time.
Yeah, it's like the railroad terminal of the
all
whole
roads.
United States.
All roads run through WrestleMania 28, but none of them stay there.
Exactly. There's not actually a station there. It's just a crossroads.
No.
Well, so we do
crossroads.
Get it? I did that on purpose. I did not. So we get a recap of the Big Show's past WrestleMania lowlights, including getting the Sacco from Mankind, his sumo fight, getting knocked out by Floyd Mayweather. So they're kind of talking about, is he like WrestleMania snake bit? Is he the choke king of WrestleMania or whatever they call him? And is he going to get a chance for redemption here? So
it's pretty fucking hilarious. Watching that reel back.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Like it's just a botch reel of the Big Show's WrestleMania run. Great. Yeah.
The one that killed me was from the sumo thing where he actually falls out of the ring and he's in like the big, the big loincloth thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just laying there pathetically. Like,
I feel bad for him.
No.
Is
this body shaming? I don't.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Are you implying that he hasn't won WrestleMania because he's too fat? Like, I don't. It's not his fault.
Well, I mean, they did ship him off multiple times to lose weight, so.
They did. My favorite Big Show memory is when we went to see wrestling at the Frederick Keys Stadium one summer. They were doing ballpark shows, and he's just like hanging out by the one fence smoking, like before the show.
Nice.
I'm like, are you supposed to be smoking? Aren't you an athlete?
Shut up.
Shut up, kid. Give me a pork chop.
So yeah, Cody Rhodes versus Big Show. Cody, who is the Intercontinental Champion coming into this match, is introduced first. That's always a bad omen in WWE title matches if the champion is coming down first. And then when Big Show gets introduced and comes out, he's like hamming to the crowd and like smiling. And it was very reminiscent of Bianca Belair telegraphing her WrestleMania championship win. And I was like, oh, Big Show's winning this match. I didn't remember this match happening at all. Yeah. But I was just like, and once I saw how he was coming down to the ring, I was like, he's emotional and stuff. Big Show's winning this one. Big Show's walking out with the Intercontinental Championship. And I'm like, he's won bigger titles. I mean, I guess it's he finally gets a win of a title at WrestleMania. And I guess that's a pretty big deal for him, but still.
Yeah, he seemed legit emotional about it afterwards. He seemed a little choked up. He goes and kisses his wife or his girlfriend in the audience there, and I don't know. I kind of felt happy for him.
I did too. Yeah.
So he kind of it's a pretty quick match. He catches Cody with a spear and then a knockout punch. He gets the belt.
So at the beginning of the match, though, Cody is like peppering him with punches and kicks and just doing everything, and like Big Show just swats at him like a mama bear to like a feisty cub, just like, get off of me. And like Cody goes flying across the ring, and Cody does a decent job of selling in this match, and so it was fun to see the juxtaposition of 2012 Cody to 2023 Cody fighting Brock Lesnar. It's a very similar style match, actually. Yeah. There's a lot of I would almost call it parity between the two matches, and but this time in 2023 Cody comes out winning. This time in 2012 Cody loses and gives Big Show the WrestleMania moment that he's been clamoring for. So
yeah, that's fine. That's
yeah,
it was a nice little moment for Mr. White. Good for him. So now it's the moment that this crowd has been waiting for. Clearly, the reason that they bought their tickets, the reason that we sold 1.3 million pay-per-view buys. It's Kelly and Maria Menounos versus Beth Phoenix and Eve Torres in a tag team match for no apparent reason. The winner gets to be the pre-show entertainment at AMC theaters, I think.
Maybe, yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I guess so. I changed the cat litter during this match.
That's probably a good use of your time.
Yeah, I was like, well, this show is 4 hours long. I don't want to really stop it. And I got to change the cat litter today. So this looks like the perfect moment to change the cat litter. And I think I was right.
Perfect moment.
Oh.
It hurts. Well, Maria Menounos and Kelly wins.
Yeah, hey meow. No spoilers. So, yeah, predictable ending.
Yeah,
I did catch the finish after I took the cat shit outside. So,
well, thank God. Thank God. So next we kind of roll into the, I guess we call it the co-main event. I don't know what you want to call it. It's definitely a high point for this WrestleMania, and it occurs a little over halfway through. So it's interesting placement. We get an interview with Shawn Michaels and his eye, which is starting to drift. He's going to be the special guest referee for this next match. We also get the attendance announcement here. There's the Jim Ross announcement. Michaels starts dancing to the ring at 58:45 on the recording. So actually this is not halfway. This is a third of the way. Michaels starts dancing to the ring at 58:45. The bell rings at an hour and 10 minutes. So that is 12
minutes.
12 minutes, basically.
Introduction of the special referee.
Yeah. And that doesn't include the
match.
Interview, the attendance announcement, the Jim Ross announcement, all of which took another like 5 minutes before that. So it's a good 17 minutes between matches here. But the match in question, if you want to roll in the
Kelly Maria Menounos match as well into that gap of action,
yeah,
you're looking at like 25 minutes.
Yeah. Anyway, so we've rolled through 4 matches in a little under an hour, just to give you an idea of, even with the filler, these are some pretty short matches. So this is Undertaker versus Triple H, Hell in a Cell, Shawn Michaels as a special guest referee. It's being described as the end of an era. All these dudes are old. They're going to die or something. We're not entirely sure.
There's... If you looked at this on paper, you'd be like, Jesus Christ, this is overbooked.
Yeah.
Because it's Triple H versus Undertaker with Shawn Michaels as special referee in a Hell in a Cell with a special play-by-play announcer. Like, holy crap. Like, it easy does it here. Because, like, so you have the intro of Jim Ross, and then you have the introduction of Shawn Michaels, and then you have the ridiculous entrance of Triple H in his medieval Aryan king throne castle playhouse that he comes out of. And then you have the Undertaker that takes forever to walk to the ring. And then you have special music and the lowering of the cell. It has its own entrance music. The cage has its own entrance. Like, holy shit. And like Undertaker is dressed like he's a rejected Mortal Kombat character. The only thing I liked out of that whole opening bit was that Undertaker's introduced being from Death Valley again.
No, thank God.
That's it. So he's back to the old school of being from Death Valley. He's still wearing the fucking MMA gloves, though.
Yeah, I thought that part was strange. He did seem to be kind of going back to the Undertaker gimmick, but he kept those fake MMA gloves. So the watching the ring, watching the cage come down is the one that killed me. Like, I'm just, oh my God. I actually fast forwarded. I couldn't take it.
But then Jim Ross's poetry just starts ringing through 50-foot flames, and like the road to everlasting immortality goes through WrestleMania. And then a thunderclap hits the moment the Undertaker drops his hood. What? It's so... And then it's theater. This match is 100% theater.
Yeah.
Because as you go through this match, you'll notice that certain spots are happening in very particular spots of the ring that are closest to the cameras and microphones, so that you can hear dialogue between Triple H, The Undertaker, and Shawn Michaels. And it all happens in certain specific spots so that you can hear it. And it's really, really weird. It's
a little annoying. I wrote something down about that as well. It's very obviously it's stagey almost.
Yeah.
It's like this Days of Our Lives. Like, I don't know. So let's see, what else? The stare down, the thing, the entrances, the stairs get introduced pretty early on, and Triple H starts bleeding almost immediately.
He didn't bleed soon enough for me though. He's bleeding. Actually, how is he not bleeding from that? How is he not bleeding from that? Oh, now he's bleeding. He's leaving bloody face prints on the Undertaker every time he runs into him. So that part's kind of cool. He catches Undertaker and gives him a brutal spine buster on those stairs. Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ. This man is 70 years old. Please don't murder him on TV.
Yeah, and that's when Jim Ross said that The Undertaker has a carcinogenic right hand.
Wow. God damn, I love Jim Ross.
I know. He just lays out these beautiful lines, and he also makes Michael Cole shut up, which is great. So Michael Cole just sits there silently, while Jim Ross shows him how to handhold the action through to the audience, so that we know what's happening without it being overtaken by his talking. So
yeah, you don't have to scream every single thing that's happening the entire way. That's he's very sorely missed whenever he's not on the mic in these kinds of shows.
Yeah.
So
Shawn Michaels is probably doing the best selling work of this match.
He can't help himself.
There's some real drama. Through the entire match, Shawn is acting like he wants to see the Undertaker lose, but he also doesn't want to see horrible violence. He just wants Triple H to just cleanly beat him and get out. But then he also just eventually just wants it to end, and we kind of do too. But this match doesn't run long, though. It just gets weird, and then there's the Charles Robinson run down because Shawn Michaels gets knocked out. And as usual, my standard complaint is with Triple H is that fucking sledgehammer.
Yeah,
it jumps the shark.
It's a murder weapon.
It's not logical. If he ever actually hit somebody with a sledgehammer, they are not going to move again in their life.
Yeah, and you would not. That's the same complaint that Cornette has about the use of the baseball bat with Jericho and Sting, right? You don't use the handle. That's not how you use a baseball bat. You swing that motherfucker, and they always do the same thing with the sledgehammer. They're always just smacking people with the handle in the most awkward way possible.
Right. They put the hand over the head and then they ram it. They use it like a battering into the person, and it's
dumb.
It's not convincing at all. I know your hand is over top of the head of the hammer. I know it's not hitting him.
You're not fooling anybody.
So, yeah, anytime the hammer shows up, I just I can handle Triple H, and then the hammer comes out, and well, now this is completely blown for me. I don't.
Yeah.
But he beats the shit out of the Undertaker with a chair.
Yeah, he really whacks him.
Holy shit!
He really whacks him.
They're paying a heavy fine to Vince after this match for these chair shots.
The Undertaker's so disoriented at one point that he grabs Shawn and chokes him out, thinking that it's his opponent. And that's when good old Little Nate comes running down as a substitute ref. Of course, we catch, before Shawn gets choked out, we make sure the microphone catches Undertaker telling him, "Do not stop it. Don't stop this match. Don't you stop it, Shawn." That's not what he says, but that's the gist of it.
Basically what he's screaming.
Yeah.
And then Taker gets tired of Charlie Robinson's shit and choke slams him for fuck all. Who cares?
Hide your wife, hide your kids. They choke slamming everybody.
And then Undertaker becomes a weird inverse version of Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
At this point. So he's just getting the shit beat out of him, but he doesn't stay down. But he doesn't really hulk up, but he does do 3 punches, a big boot, and then a leg drop to Triple H.
Yeah.
Like, it's a Hulk Hogan sequence right there. I couldn't believe it. Like, I had to, wait a minute. I had to rewind and watch it again. I was like, wow. We suddenly had Hulk Hogan in this match for a moment. It's weird.
What was that about, do you think?
I don't know. Like, you can't tell me that they just coincidentally sequenced that move, especially with how staged and blocked out this thing is. It's like a freaking Broadway show. And suddenly you're going to do 3 punches, a big boot and a leg drop, and oh, well, Undertaker does that too. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Well, he does now. So Shawn spends a good bit of time in the corner crying.
Yeah. It's really weird
because his friends are beating each other up, and he's really sad about it, and also because of his eye, I guess. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and the crowd is very clearly on Undertaker's side.
Yeah,
they don't want Triple H to win this match at all. And then Triple H, out of nowhere, looks stammered and does a crotch chop towards the Undertaker. Undertaker clocks him with the hammer under the jaw, and that's the only hammer shot that looks realistic. And then Triple H takes a tombstone and game over. That's
the win. I don't know. There were a handful of spots here that I enjoyed. Those chair shots were great. The spine buster on the steps. It's a little much. It's a little much. Also, the Undertaker looks really, really bad, and it's kind of distracting.
Yeah, it's kind of sad to see the guy that was your favorite and should have retired 5 years prior to this match, gone out on a high, did not. And
he's Brett Favre'ing it up in there.
He still does a pretty decent show here. It's no him versus Roman Reigns over in Saudi Arabia that happens. That's just
So this is 20-0, is that right?
This takes him to 20-0.
So that means we got one more before, and then the streak's broken after that. Is that correct? Yeah, 21-0 was
so.
So we're almost there, folks.
Yeah, and then the 3 of them help each other all together like besties to the back. Like it was all a show. It didn't matter.
After you just beat a man with a sledgehammer.
Yeah. That was probably the most dramatic moment, was when Undertaker's down and he has his foot on the back of Taker's neck and is about to swing down with the hammer, like in a full legit swing towards Taker's head. And Shawn jumps him and rips the hammer away and tells him no. Like, that was good drama. Thank you. And thank you for doing it close enough to the camera so that we can hear you talk. So I appreciate it.
That's funny. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
So then we get to the Hall of Fame time. We get, of course, the usual highlights from the ceremony, and then the introduction of the class within the stadium here. So this year's class is Ron Simmons, the man himself, Mil Mascaras, the Four Horsemen. So now this class, JJ was there, Ric Flair, Tully, Arn, and was that Barry Windham?
That was Barry Windham.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if every single person that was ever in the Four Horsemen got a ring at this point or not.
Yeah,
so
that's a good question. I was wondering about, Ole. Where's Ole? Yeah.
Right, because Ole, Lex Luger, Chris Benoit, did you just suddenly have to acknowledge Chris Benoit's existence again? But yeah, I don't know. I do wonder if Lex Luger got a ring in the mail. So
Special delivery.
Yeah.
Yokozuna is also in this class. He's represented by his kids, Kehlani and Justin Anoa'i. Mike Tyson is in the Celebrity Hall of Fame. He makes some really awkward jokes about being in prison, and he gets kind of like a ha 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 ha. He does the crotch
sexual assault.
He does the crotch chop and won't stop doing the crotch chop. Like,
yeah.
And then Edge is, Edge is clearly like their whatever the main one for this class. He's like the whatever. He's the superstar. So he's the only one that gets his music played at the ceremony. And you said you thought this was right after his sort of forced retirement.
It is. He was forced to retire in 2011.
Okay.
So yeah, that was. I didn't. I don't like him being in the Hall of Fame. I don't think he deserves it. I don't really like him that much. I don't think he's a great, I don't think he was a great champion. I don't think he was a great tag champion. He's got a ton of things listed under his WWE accomplishments of he was King of the Ring, he won Money in the Bank, 2 Royal Rumbles, a Triple Crown champion. He won the WCW United States Championship before that went away. He won the WWF Intercontinental Championship 5 times, the Heavyweight Championship 7 times, WWE Champion 4 times. But this is in the era to where it changed every freaking day.
Yeah.
This isn't like the Bob Backlund Championship for 5 years and then taking it off of him. This is, and he was tag champion 12 times, 7 times with Christian, once with Hollywood Hulk Hogan, twice with Chris Benoit, once with Randy Orton, and once with Chris Jericho. So, and once with Rey Mysterio, and again with Chris Jericho, but that was the WWE Tag Championships, not the World Tag Championship. Okay, it's still this is just the time that these belts shifted all over the place. So I don't know. Yeah, he's got quite the resume there, but I still wouldn't even consider him one of the best wrestlers ever, worthy enough to be in the Hall of Fame next to dudes like Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant and Junkyard Dog and Ted DiBiase.
Yeah, I don't know. He's been a character, right? He's been mostly a character, which is fine. He's a solid, to me. He's always a solid C-list player. He's he's whatever. He's your second point guard coming off the bench or whatever.
He can keep the game going until the starters rested up and can come back in.
Exactly. So anyway, maybe a little premature, but hey, whatever. Good for him.
Yeah.
And I always like the Hall of Fame. I wish this one didn't last very long, and we didn't get very much of the ceremony with the speeches and stuff. Those are usually kind of emotional. I always appreciate seeing them, but this was just kind of perfunctory.
Yeah,
so
who cares?
Yeah. There's some backstage stuff with some randos. Who was that? Was that Heath Slater? Is that who it was?
Yes.
And Flo Rida.
So the announcer guy keeps calling him Flo Rider. And then Heath Slater calls him Florida. I think that one's intentional, but
yeah, he's just fucking with him.
Yeah.
And then he'll be back later. Flo Rida will, because now we got to get to the 12-man tag team match to determine the general manager of SmackDown and Raw. This is incredible. It's going to take me longer to introduce these people than it is to talk about the whole match. But bear with me. You can, if you have one of that little fast forward buttons for 15 seconds, this would be a good time to hit it. All right. On one side, we've got Team Johnny, which is representing
Raw.
Championing, I don't know what you say.
Championing
the Raw
John
folks
Laurinaitis.
and John Laurinaitis, yeah. and that is David Otunga, who's an absolute unit, by the way, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Jack Swagger, Mark Henry, and The Miz. And they've, just for good measure, they've also got Brie Bella and Vicky Guerrero in their corner. On the other hand, you've got Team Teddy for good old Teddy Long playa for the SmackDown crew, and that's Booker T, poor guy, Kofi Kingston, the Great Khali, R-Truth, Santino Marella, and Zack Ryder, a.k.a. Matt Cardona. And they've got Oksana, Eve Torres, Hornswoggle, and Nikki Bella along for the ride, just for the hell of it. So they can get like a group rate at the Cheesecake Factory afterwards. I'm not sure.
I guess so. Yeah, but they're going to build in that automatic 18% gratuity. So
yeah, so you don't even really get ahead, you know?
No.
Pro tip, don't put leftover cheesecake in the back of your car and drive for 6 hours in the hot sun and then eat the cheesecake when you get to your destination.
No.
I did it. I totally did it. Around our house, we refer to this as the cheesecake incident. I'm
just like picturing you like squatting in the backyard next to Otto for some reason, like you couldn't make it in the house. Like, yeah,
this is pre-Otto. We went to visit some friends down in Raleigh, and we went to the Cheesecake Factory. I don't know why, and their cheesecakes are huge, right? So
there's nothing better in Raleigh, right?
Right, that's it. You take half of it home, and I put it in the hotel fridge. And so we got up the next morning to leave. I'm like, oh, this is fine. Put it in the back seat. I'll crank up the AC. It'll be fine. And we got home, and I, took it out of the car and put it in the fridge. So Jack is like, I don't think you should eat that. I'm like, I think it'll be fine. so I polished it off, of course, and it was delicious. And then as the next day, and it was like 9 a.m. I was at work, and I'm like, this is not good. Yeah, that's kind of what it sounded like. It was it was both ends.
No,
it wasn't.
You had the bazooka going.
Anyway, cheesecake incident. Don't do that, folks. This is our very important public service announcement.
Anyway, this is a garbage match. I didn't watch it.
Team
Let it play.
Team
Raw
Raw
really
wins.
paying attention. Yeah. The only other note that I took down was like they did Booker T wrong by putting them in this payday match, because that's what this is. This is a payday match. Get faces on the TV, get your money. It's vaudeville. They showed up. They were seen. They got to be paid. So they did Booker T wrong by putting them in this. I mean, the dude is a former world champion, and not that long ago, he's still in tip-top shape. He could be in your main event, but you don't want him to. And then the only other note was that Drew McIntyre at this point has such a bland look. He is so boring looking. Like, who is this pie face looking idiot? Like, that's you're a bad guy. Why are you smiling? Like, stop it.
Pie face McIntyre. I don't blame him at all for cutting him during his first run.
No.
Yeah, I don't. I was trying to decide if I'd rather have cheesecake-induced intestinal distress or watch this match again. It's a close one. Yeah,
and then at the end, Zack Ryder's girlfriend kicks him in the nuts, and it's a big heel turn that no one gave a shit about. Like, that is actually like the most dramatic moment of WrestleMania, of this WrestleMania. It's the only like heel change, face turn, anything like that happens on this card. That's it.
Nobody cares.
No, I don't even know her name.
Was that Oksana? Eve Torres?
I don't know.
Was it one? It wasn't one of the Bellas. It doesn't matter. I don't know. We're still talking about this. There's A-Rod and his girlfriend are in the crowd, I guess. And so now it's time for our WrestleMania week puff piece. We hear all about the charity auction, the golf tournament, the reading challenge, et cetera, et cetera.
You can't blow by that. We're both librarians. And there was apparently in 2012 a partnership with the WWE, the American Library Association, YALSA, the Young Adult Literacy
Library Services
Association. There we go. And Penguin Books to do a Battle of the Books thing for WrestleMania tickets.
Wow.
So we already have WWE working with the Discovery Channel and A&E, and now we also have them working with the American Library Association. Fantastic. Fan-fucking-tastic. This is weird.
How did I miss that? It was ALA. I must have tuned out during that part.
Right. And the ALA website, I sent it to you earlier, has links, has a full breakdown of the entire tournament that these kids won. Insane. Like they have like all the kids that were the regional winners, and then they have a list of all 1,700 libraries that participated in this tournament. And each regional winner won $2,000 for their library and a set of Penguin Young Readers books, airfare, ground transportation from airport to hotel, and 3 nights hotel for the finalists, and a chaperone to Miami, tickets to WrestleMania 28, and $300 spending money.
Holy cow.
That's a good prize.
Yeah, that's legit.
Yeah.
All I got for reading was those little pizzas from the Pizza Hut.
Yeah, I know.
Man, these kids
I got
made.
stickers occasionally, and
Yeah.
These kids got WrestleMania. Fucking bullshit. No wonder I don't like to read anymore.
Yeah. I could be kind of salty about it.
Yeah.
So anyway, ALA, I'm withholding my membership dollars until you bring this shit back.
For real. For
Kids
real.
need to learn to read.
You need to let us host it.
Man, it would be a natural thing. We could get on the ALA website.
I know. It'd be amazing.
Get literally 5s of followers.
Literally 5s of followers. That'd be amazing.
All right, we got 2 more matches to go. Are we going to make it?
I think so. Yeah.
All right. This is time for the AEW main event here. Pepsi Phil, CM Punk versus Chris Jericho. It's a submission match for the WWE Championship. Andy Garcia's in the crowd, and he's hyped. You know that guy loves wrestling. I don't know.
I don't think they had to do a submission in this match. I don't think that was the only stipulation I think on this match was that if Punk got disqualified, he would lose the belt.
Right.
That's it.
I thought they were supposed to. Yeah. Anyway,
it just happened to end with submission.
They were just all into the submissions.
Yeah.
It's so weird seeing these guys together here and hearing CM Punk's music. It's very disorienting.
Yeah. This is AEW light, and it looks like an AEW match, and this match looks different than anything else on the card, and it's enjoyable because of that.
I know.
This is actually, let's see, the pipe bomb. CM Punk's pipe bomb was in June of 2011, and then this match is in April of 2012, so almost a year after it. And it's fascinating that CM Punk still works for them, and it's the reason why I thought that the whole thing with AEW was a work. Because so the stuff that he says in his pipe bomb promo here is some fascinating stuff. Let's see, where's the really damning line here?
I just remember the line about having to take so many antibiotics or whatever that he shit his pants. I remember.
Yeah. So from the pipe bomb, it's talking about Vince McMahon. He says that he's a millionaire who should be a billionaire. You know why he's not a billionaire? Because he surrounds himself with glad-handed, nonsensical douchebag yes men like John Laurinaitis, who's going to tell him everything he wants to hear. And I'd like to think that maybe this company will be better after Vince McMahon is dead.
Wow.
But the fact is, it's going to be taken over by his idiotic daughter and his doofus son-in-law and the rest of his stupid family.
Wow.
That's one of the last lines of that promo.
Not a good way to get invited to Thanksgiving dinner.
And then at the next pay-per-view, he wins the title from John Cena after this. Like, he said, he did kind of predict the future. That Stephanie and the doofus son-in-law would be running the company. Yeah. And then he finishes it up with let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon, all right? We do this whole anti-bullying campaign, and then his microphone is cut off.
Nice.
So, just a reminder of CM Punk's rant. So, the fun thing is also in his pipe bomb promo, he says, "I'm leaving with the WWE Championship on July 17th, and hell, who knows? Maybe I'll go and defend it in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Maybe I'll go back to Ring of Honor." Then he looks at the camera and waves and says, "Hey, Colt Cabana, how you doing?"
Shit. Wow.
Right, and then in 2022, after the media scrum for All Out,
right.
He's shit talking on Colt Cabana. He then shits on the ownership. It's 2022. I have been friends with this guy since at least 2014, late 2013, and the fact that I have to sit up here because we have irresponsible people who call themselves EVPs and couldn't effing manage a target, and they spread lies and bullshit and put into a media that I got somebody fired when I have fuck all to do with him, want nothing to do with him, do not care where he works, where he doesn't work, where he eats, where he sleeps. And the fact that I have to get up here and do this in 2022 is fucking embarrassing. So, and then it's like, it's not Tony Khan's position to make it very effing clear. There's people who call themselves EVPs that should have fucking known better. So, parallels?
I've had a few.
Yeah.
I'm old. I'm tired. I work with fucking children.
Right.
No, I believe he said I'm old. I'm hurt, and I work with fucking children.
Yeah.
Anyway, same thing. Well, anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on here. It's also very strange to see Jericho working face here, and the crowd responding to him as a face. But I also think that has a lot to do with just the absolute heat that Punk generates.
Yeah. There's Jericho is so like Punk's big thing is he's the best in the world, and then Jericho wears trunks to the ring that says "best in the world" all across the ass.
That's pretty good. I do like that, actually.
Good trolling from a face.
Yeah. I will say the one thing that didn't really ring true here is like his whole plot about, Punk says it's straight edge and his father's an alcoholic and his sister's a drug addict. I'm like, yeah, everybody has those in their family. That's probably why he chooses not to drink or use drugs. Like, that's not maybe in 2012 that was a sick burn, but I don't know. Like,
yeah.
Hey, your brother is emotionally unavailable. I'm like, oh yeah, I know. He needs therapy, or like whatever. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of a weird thing. It's also a weird thing for a supposed face to kind of like expose, quote unquote, and then hype on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird move. It's a weird. Yeah. This is almost Jericho being less heel than Punk as opposed to being the face.
Yeah.
That's. I would say that Jericho is maybe sitting in the middle and Punk is heel.
So there's some other important things going on in the crowd that I feel like I have to mention. First of all, there's a sign alert here that just says tapeworms. I don't know what that's about.
There are some good signs at this show.
Yeah.
There's one sign that just says Cena's ass as well.
Nice. There's also a dude in the front row all the way over towards the right, towards the ring post, who looks like Chris Jericho's like alcoholic brother. Like, did you see that guy?
I did.
He looked right. He
Yeah.
looks like him.
And on the far left of the ringside, you can see green shirt guy.
Hell yeah, green shirt guy.
So as he
everywhere.
is an internet legend wrestling fan that wears this giant neon green smiley face T-shirt. It's oversized. It's too big for him. But he wears it every single wrestling show that he goes to, and he normally sits ringside, and you can see him very prominently on TV. And this is the earliest I can think of seeing him on television. So,
Yeah. Oh, wow, that guy made his money. He goes to all these things.
yeah, he's the new Vladimir. So,
Yeah. So my wife and I were having a long discussion about whether the Chris Jericho in the ring was actually like, the brother or the clone or whatever, and the one out in the crowd was the real Chris Jericho watching what it could have been. Anyway, it's deep. So I don't know. Jericho works on Phil's back for most of this one. Towards the end, the end actually kind of gets interesting. They're really some trading, some back and forth.
Yeah.
Submissions and or finishing moves. I do think the GTS is one of the lamer finishing moves for the number of times that people were able to slip out of it or knee a person in the head or whatever. It's just not terribly effective. I think it's got like a 2% success rate, I think.
Yeah. Well, at this point in time, any finisher only has like a 5% success rate.
That's true.
Because they're all superheroes and they just have to take these hits like 20 million times before they're out.
Yeah.
So there was not a lot to take notes on in this match just because they're moving so fast. Michael Cole does spit out some facts that this is Jericho's 11th WrestleMania.
Jesus.
I was like, yeah, and this is Punk's 6th, apparently.
Wow.
But there's just counters on counters, and there's so much action through this whole match that Michael Cole never shuts up, and Jerry Lawler keeps trying to cut in with things to say, and you can't hear him. He doesn't. He can't get in, and like even when he does say something, Cole doesn't acknowledge him at all. Like this is horrible. They're still living out their feud from the previous WrestleMania, and it's affecting the quality of the show, honestly.
Yeah. Jericho's 42 here, by the way. So
Jesus.
Yeah. Phil's 34.
Yeah.
So I thought, I didn't take a whole lot of notes on particular moves. There's one I really like. The crowd really pops for Jericho turning the GTS into a Walls of Jericho. Like that was kind of clever. I think they really like that one. There's also he turns a Hurricane Rana into the Walls of Jericho. So they're really selling up the kind of the counter offensive, the counter punching, sort of technical aspects here. I thought they did a good job.
Yeah, we've seen out of Jericho a lot in this period. That's like his whole style, is just like countering every single thing that happens. One note that I took was about on their outside of the ring time. Punk does a flying knee into Jericho's face that then bounces the back of his head off the ring post. That was vicious and nasty looking. And then the Anaconda Vice that Punk locks Jericho into finally, and you can see him adjust it so that Jericho can no longer kick him in the back of the head while doing it, and that was the win. And so it was a clever finish. I thought the finishing sequence of alternating between the Walls of Jericho and the Anaconda Vice and some other holds was really a great sequence to finish this up.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that was cool. It was kind of like he hits that Anaconda Vice once, and Jericho knees him in the back of the head like enough times to make him break it, and then they reverse, and then he goes back to it. And like you said, that time he knees him once, and he slips over to the side. So yeah, actually, a really good match. One of the highlights of the card for me.
Yeah, same.
So, very, very strange. It's like I slipped into a time warp. Let's see. There's some more military sniffing and flyovers and
they have the
stuff.
Pilots from the flyover there.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh well, that's really nice. They give them tickets to the show. They get to come, but then they say that they're out of the Key West Naval Air Base.
Yeah.
Now I've done the drive from Miami to Key West and back. It is 3.5 hours from Miami to Key West. If you make all the lights through all the different keys that you got to go through. How did they get there?
So either they landed somewhere at a base in Miami or around Miami and drove over, or they flew back home, their home base, checked in their planes, got in the van and hauled ass to Miami. I don't know. Or maybe a helicopter brought them up. Who knows?
I mean, maybe they landed over at Miami International and drove over or something.
Maybe.
I don't.
Yeah.
Or what's the Homestead Air Force Base? Maybe they landed there or something like that. I don't know, but
need permission to buzz the tower. I've got WrestleMania tickets.
Yeah, they did not. There's no way that they actually did the flyover, flew back to Key West, and drove back to Miami in time to be in that stadium for WrestleMania.
That's
So
a negative Ghost Rider.
something fishy is happening here, folks. Okay, there's a conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
Those planes were letting out chemtrails. Every person that attended that WrestleMania now has cancer.
I believe it.
Every single one of them.
A lot of people are saying that. Yeah. Or those weren't the real pilots. Those were they were body doubles. Maybe they were clones. I mean, aliens are real now, so maybe they were real in 2012 too.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
Speaking of aliens, here comes Brodus Clay, who's got to be like, look, I don't know. I know he's like whatever on Fox News these days, and I don't know anything about the guy, and I don't hold anything against him or whatever, but he is one ugly motherfucker. Like,
He's a weird looking guy.
yeah, like Predator.
I mean, I'm a weird looking guy too, but we recognize our own.
If a Predator saw him, like he would be speechless. Like, it would just be,
yeah,
he wouldn't even know what to say. So he's there in a white tracksuit and a hat, and his backup dancers are actually Cameron and Naomi. Did you notice that?
yes. And they're all dancing to what sounds like Parliament. I don't know if it really is a Parliament Funkadelic song, but it sure sounds like it.
He gets on the phone to his mama, who says she's bringing the whole bridge club over. And he introduces Mama Clay, who is a young lady in a gray wig, a house dress, and a giant fake booty, who comes out and like proceeds to shake it around in her.
Like 2 basketballs has ass cheeks, kind of fake booty. Like, it's
huge.
If it was real, she has serious back issues and like spinal stenosis and scoliosis and every other osis that involves your back and butt. Like,
yeah. And she dances very suggestively in front of her supposed son.
And they're wearing she's wearing this like really like kind of like weird dress that like housekeeper's dress. Like, that's I think it was the ensemble wearing the clothing that was really like making me go, is this racist? Like, the dancing, the choreography, the stereotypical booty size implant things, and then the outfit. Like,
it's very Michael Cole thinks this is the greatest thing he's ever seen. He is like literally shouting about it into the mic.
Michael Cole also says the N-word. You know he does.
I just don't know. I just don't understand why I can't say it. Is all I'm saying.
It's disbelieved.
They say it in the songs. This is what Michael Cole says when he's.
It's speculation. I'm just speculating that Michael Cole does, but
yeah.
So this whole section is weird, and don't forget he's now the current NWA World Champion.
Oh, I didn't forget.
Tyrus goes by Tyrus now, and he's apparently also trying to start a stand-up comedy career right now.
Please no.
Too. I saw an ad.
Oh no! Is it just a picture of his face, and you're supposed to laugh at it? Cause
yeah, pretty much.
That's not very nice. But anyway, fuck that guy for making this whole thing weird. I didn't time all this, but this would have been another good place to like check the time from the end of the previous match through the.
I mean, this is clearly the second intermission in house. Yeah.
So we are
and again,
here.
This is a payday for Tyrus to get him on the air, get him money.
Well, and for Naomi and Cameron and all of the Mrs. Clays too.
Same, yeah.
So we are here. We're here. We made it. It's The Rock versus John Cena. So again, the biggest stars of WWE of the last 10 to 15 years. There's a nice intro video for the setup. There's a whole lot more stalling.
I hated that intro video. I
hated it.
I hated it because it's like it kind of tried to give that The Rock and John Cena have the same wrestling credentials, and the same like not that like The Rock comes from a storied wrestling family. John Cena does not. I appreciate them no longer trying to portray John Cena as like a 1920s gangster from Prohibition, but again, figure out what he is at some point. Like, you could just sell that he's self-made, that he busted his ass and worked hard to make himself into who he is, as opposed to The Rock, who came off of like a wrestling silver spoon. Like, his father was a tag champion, and he's related to the Anoa'i family, like something. some sort of heat there like that. I don't know. The video just was like trying to make it seem like they were equals in some sort of credential way, and they're just not. And it's okay. They hyped this match more than Hogan versus Andre.
You did?
They did.
Oh,
they hyped it.
Oh, yeah.
They hyped it. They hyped it so fucking much.
Yeah. No, it's like this is the greatest thing to ever happen in the history of wrestling. Once in a lifetime, right?
Yeah.
It's on the signs. I kind of wondered. There were so
Except
many.
for it happens again next year.
Yeah, there are so many once in a lifetime signs. I kind of thought the company might have like given them out to fans.
I think the crowd's mocking them.
Yeah,
that's what that is.
But we're not there yet. Sean Diddy Combs, that's what he's going by at this time, introduces MGK, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Which turns out is Machine Gun Kelly, who's like 22 here.
Yeah, you squint at him, you can tell that it's Machine Gun Kelly. That's what happened to me. Like MGK, and then I saw him like, is that Machine Gun Kelly? Holy shit, it is.
Like I said, I thought he was just invented in the last 2 or 3 years ago. I saw him on Saturday Night Live or something. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Anyway, he does his song Invincible, which coincidentally is the theme for WrestleMania 28, and gives a little speech about underdogs, and the crowd appears to be booing him.
Yeah, because he says that the underdog is John Cena, and he's going to beat The Rock, and the crowd is 100% behind The Rock for this match. So everybody, so Machine Gun Kelly ends this great song that he sings with Esther Dean, and the crowd is just straight up booing his ass. It's so good because he started spitting heat on The Rock, and that's what happens to you.
Yeah. And then Cena comes out, of course, to just a ton of boos.
Oh, yeah.
It's relentless.
Yeah.
It hurt my feelings. That's how much booing was going on.
I know. It's like, oh, poor John Cena. He's got 73,000 people booing him, and he's supposedly a good guy.
There's a few kids in the front row, who are doing the signs and everything, and they're excited, but everybody else hates that dude.
At least that whole family that would wear "I Hate John Cena" shirts that would sit front row was not at this WrestleMania.
Yeah. I miss them. I hope they're doing okay.
Me too.
There's another musical number just in case. Flo Rida comes out in the sweetest looking like Tron motorcycle thing I've ever seen. What the fuck was that? That was incredible.
It's the Tron bike. I swear to God, it is.
It was really rad. It was really rad.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of backup dancers. So at first I thought we're all really short, but it actually turns out Flo Rida's like 6'3". So
yeah. And there's one token white girl dancer that just looks so happy to be there.
She's the Ringo of the group.
Yeah.
I'm just really thrilled to be here.
And then just like Machine Gun Kelly, who had a nice young lady singing with him, Flo Rida also had a young lady singing with him. And that young lady was a really young Sia. So we actually can see Sia's face at WrestleMania 28. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And then we get a shot that Mike Chioda, our boy, is going to be the referee for this match.
I was so excited when I saw him.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was told my wife, I'm like, that's Mike Chioda. He smells like cigarettes and sounds like my grandpa.
Yeah. The walls of his house are yellow, nicotine yellow.
Guaranteed. Yeah, he's great. The Rock is his entrance is still electrifying. Like, the people are digging it. He's extra large here. He's been hitting that Hollywood iron. He's got that big ass chest tattoo now. I get a good sign alert that says Australia hates Cena. That's pretty cool.
What a great! And if Cena wins, we riot.
That was a good one too.
Yeah,
I thought the stare down and like the build up before the bell was actually really great. I thought like they're both standing there, they're both kind of checking on the crowd, they were looking at each other, looking at the crowd, looking at each other.
Yep.
Mike Chioda's there smelling like cigarettes. Like it was fucking great. It was
already winded and sweaty.
The Rock starts sweating early though. I noticed he seems to be.
He looks like he's getting gassed.
Yeah, it's all that muscle, man.
Yeah.
Tell you what, got to get running.
Yeah, the Cena does a great job looking shell-shocked after the opening volley that The Rock gets in on him. As we were discussing before we came on as well, that it looked like John Cena may have eaten a couple potatoes during this match, as a shiner starts forming right next to his left eye, and then there's a bruise forming under his right eye. mid-match. Like, some of these punches from The Rock are connecting. Obviously, something is hitting him, and it's not good.
Yeah, no, they work really well together. There's like some really nice arm drags, lots of momentum shifts in this one.
Yeah.
They just, I don't know, they have really good chemistry. I think they're two big dudes, so like there's that whole angle to it. It's not like a big slow guy versus a small fast guy. It's like just two very large, very athletic guys muscling it out. I wrote down a hot take that the people's elbow and the 5-knuckle shuffle are the same move, and they're equally ridiculous.
Yes. I don't think that's a very hot take. I think that is just the take. That is the truth. You're speaking the gospel. That's gospel.
That's a lukewarm take.
Yeah.
It's a lukewarm take for the kids.
The only thing was that I couldn't help but feel like this match followed the WWE main event model. Like, it's not a lot of action. There's a lot of laying down. There's a lot of rest holds, as they would call them. There's a mid-match exchange of finishers that does not work.
Yeah.
And then there's the face is beat down really badly, but then rallies and comes out of nowhere for the win.
Yeah.
That's basically how that's the flow chart of this match, and it's the flow chart of just about every WWE main event since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
But it becomes very evident once we get into the Triple H, Stone Cold, Rock, John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle era of main events. That's what these, and Dave Bautista. Jesus, every match of his is like that. Yeah, there was a great, what looked like a shout out to Bret Hart versus Stone Cold with that sharpshooter spot.
Yeah.
And also I loved the arm check on The Rock. The Rock is in the STFU and is being snuffed out, and his arm drops, and they do the arm check, and The Rock holds steady suddenly on 3. Ooh, he almost lost it. Almost.
I know it's a little formulaic. I did enjoy it. I thought it was it didn't go too long as far as I was concerned. The Rock,
they did the formula properly.
They did, yeah. The Rock pulls it out. Crowd goes nuts. To set the stage for a return match next year. This is the kind of long-term storytelling that is hard to come by these days. There's some of it still going on in WWE with, like Cody and the Bloodline, obviously. There's zero of this going on in AEW.
No, they pick a fight, they fight the next show.
Yep. They may even fight the same show if they can't quite wait to get to it. And they just, no chill, as the kids say. But I don't know. As far as main events go, it did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right?
And did you notice something absent at the end of the show?
Did they not do the recap?
There was no recap highlight package after this. The Rock pins John Cena after the Rock bottom. Michael Cole says goodnight, and
we're
bingo, bango. Peacock wants to flow into WrestleMania 29.
Wow.
So, just wraps it up. Not even like a really great, like, this was such a great WrestleMania, goodbye, good night, everybody, like, kind of thing. Just like, and that's it.
Here's a recap of Mama Clay's dancing.
Yeah, great.
Well, I know we both have to sign off here within the next 5 minutes or so. So I want to just run down real quick. Best match?
My favorite match was Jericho versus Punk.
Yeah, same. I thought that was the most entertaining of the matches. Good technical stuff.
Yeah.
Good storytelling. Just good stuff. I don't know. Is it even worth picking a worst match? Probably.
It's the women's tag.
The women's tag. Yeah.
The 6-man. Be close to it.
I was gonna say followed by that whole mess.
But the tag championships are noticeably absent on this WrestleMania.
Yet again. I don't even know if there's an oh shit moment from this one.
I have one.
Okay, what you got?
And it's the repeated chair shots by Triple H onto The Undertaker.
Those were pretty good.
And then The Undertaker's revenge chair shots later that actually break the chair. Good stuff.
Yeah, that was hot shit. I don't know. Mine was maybe that opening with Daniel Bryan just getting squashed in 18 seconds. That's
a good one.
That makes a statement, you know?
Yeah, it does.
All right, so that brings us to the end of WrestleMania 28. We hope you've enjoyed running it down with us. You want to give it a rating? I would give
you always rate the WrestleManias.
I would give it I'd give it a 2.5 out of 4, probably.
2.5? 2.5 out of 4. Wow.
Yeah.
Really throwing off the scale here.
Wait, do we usually do 5?
Yes.
Oh, well, see.
Who does out of 4?
I don't know.
This isn't like the AP test. Like, this isn't AP English.
In that case, I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5.
Okay. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5, and I think that's just because it looked a lot like the last SummerSlam that we just watched. Yeah, this is a very modern looking show, and also I wasn't nearly as bored through most of the show as like the previous 5 WrestleManias that we watched.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
I was like, I think I got to bump this one up. So it possibly could have been a 4 out of 5 if it hadn't had the Daniel Bryan squash.
I gave it minus a star for being like 70% entrances and filler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can get that.
It did got some points for the CM Punk and the main event. Those were good. There's a lot of crap on this one. You could have easily cut this down to a tight 2 hours. That would have been entertaining. But that's not the era that we're in anymore, so it's not even really fair to talk about it that way. All right, so as we always do, we like to just wrap up by paying tribute to some of the men and women that we've seen who are no longer with us. So this show, it's a relatively short list. We got ring announcer Howard Finkel, got Hall of Fame inductee Yokozuna, and visible during the Hall of Fame ceremony, of course, Mean Gene Okerlund. So that'll do it for WrestleMania 28 in this episode of All the WrestleManias. We hope you've enjoyed listening to it. If you have a chance to watch it, if you have memories of it, if you've read about it on the internet, I don't care. Send us a note, allthewrestlemanias@gmail.com. You can find us on the Twitter still at WrestleMania Pod. We've been a little less active on that one lately, trying to figure out where we go from here with that particular platform. We're on Facebook and Instagram. We're on the new Instagram threads. Doohickey, trying to figure that one out. YouTube, of course, we always like to hear from you, so leave us a comment, shoot us a note. We're more than happy to get your feedback. So, alrighty, anything else for the fans?
Ko-fi.com/all the WrestleManias if you want to leave us a tip.
Yeah,
monetary tip, not never bet on ponies or whatever.
That's funny. Yeah, anyway, I forgot what I was going to say, so it's probably time to sign off. All right, everybody, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.